Alrighty, so now that I've done Deku and I've done Hawks and I've done Endeavor, it's time to talk about All Might. All Might was the second figure to come out of the line, and he was the second figure that I got for myself because I wanted someone to go with my Deku, and I really loved the look of this figure, so I wanted to get an All Might. But first of all, I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the Deku. I'm going to go over accessories first, specifically what I don't use, and that is these two speech bubble effects, the Smash and the other Smash. Again, these are a really nice plasticky material. The printing on them is also excellent, but they're a nice thick material. The biggest difference from Deku is that he doesn't get a whole separate stand for it. He gets this chintzy little plastic one. This stand sucks because this base section here doesn't hold for crap, and neither does this top half. So if I wanted to get it about here, if I want it there, yeah. Say I grab this guy and I pick him up and I send him back down. It's not the best little stand. I would much prefer to have a second display base, especially because this is the only stand that you get with All Might. You only get one of these regular stands, and it barely, actually doesn't at all hold him from the top half. You have to get him from the butt peg. This peg situation is not reliable because this is a floating piece. It kind of works, but I much prefer to have it pegged into the back than into here. If you have the extra base from Izuku like I do, then make this contraption for yourself. Unscrew one of these stands, take one of these arms here, screw it into your other one, and it works wonders. Now on to accessories. This is everything you get with All Might, including this little eye tool. This is what you use to poke out his eyes. There is a nice little ridge there, as you can kind of see. It is probably best to actually use this. You just pluck it out like that, and if you need to put him back in, you can push him in with the little eye tool, like that. But let's talk about the faces real quick. So, first of all, you have a happy face, but I'll show that here in a minute. And then you have this angry face. That is a perfect angry face, in my opinion. And you have another happy face, but he's sweating. And then you have this bloody angry face, and I really like that face. As you can kind of see, one of the eye options is 2 blue dots in the eyes. That is a perfect look for him. You don't have a lot of eye options with this figure, honestly, but I mean, you can't do much when he only has like blue dots for eyes. So there's an all black one. There is this down and looking to the right one. The 2 blue dots, like I mentioned before, looking up and to the left, looking up and to the right. And then this one here is down and to the left, down into my left, I should say. So those are your only eye options. It's enough for All Might, especially since he doesn't usually have specified pupils. I'll quickly go ahead and, as everything gets disorganized over here, I'll talk about this as well. So this is your burst effect, I guess. It's a pretty nice effect, and you can peg it together to make this ring. It looks really nice, though I don't find a lot of application for it. Though, as you've seen, you also have these extra pegs from this eye tray. Now this clear one here is, I'm guessing, meant to be specifically used for when you have the whole ring, because if you use one of these regular just yellow pegs, you're not going to be able to get it fitted correctly. And I'll just put it on there like I have him now. I'll actually have to raise the arm a little bit, but you can get it pegged into the arm like that. There's a little hole in the arm. You get it pegged in there. I don't generally use this because it can be a pain. You can also peg it into the back of the shoe here and on the arms there and there. And you can peg it in individual chunks. So if you just take one of these off, let's say, I'll try to show this. There. It's plugged in and everything. You can pose it up like that. Someone's going to be more creative than I am. I can't find a great use for this. Also, that clear part does come off of here, and you can just slide that directly onto there. So if you just wanted to have an effect like that where he's throwing a punch out, you could. So that's it for the effects. It's really not a lot, especially when the only other thing is this crappy clamp that is complete garbage, and hands, which you get a lot of hands, I will say that much. You get 2 fists, 2 chopping hands, a singular thumbs up hand, which this also it has a really tight peg for me, so watch out for that on your copy. You get 2 of each of these hands, so a peace sign hand. I have these on All Might right now, but you get a peace sign and then this widespread open hand. This is my single favorite hand from all of the Amazing Yamaguchi figures I own. This looks spectacular. It is so expressive and so well defined and well detailed. I love this. I love these hands to bits. You get 2 pointy hands. These are also really nice. Really well defined and everything. And 2 clenchy hands. I haven't used these a lot, but they're also really good. So that covers all of his accessories. Let me actually shove his fists on him real quick, and I'll show you how this works. Just pop it right off. Pop the new one back on. It's a nice peg. I really prefer when figures do this, where it's just a short little peg where you connect the hand onto. I know SH Figure Arts does it where it's a little ball joint. I don't like that. It makes me uncomfortable. Anyhow, now let's get into the last little bit, which is the figure itself. So let's see how tall he is in inches. He is about 7 inches tall to the top of his skull, maybe 7 3/16. I hate reading rulers. But this figure itself, let's talk about the looks. This guy looks really nice. He has a little bit more of a shiny finish to him compared to something like Hawks or Zuku. I like that. The suit looks more like a latex suit or something like that, I guess. It looks more like a stretchy spandex material. That's what I was trying to find the word for, spandex. It looks very stretchy and breathable. And I like that. I like that look for it a lot. All the paint is really nice on here. There is one paint mishap on mine. Little blue dot, from what I've seen at least. But the paint rubbing on this guy isn't that bad, actually. If I had to say one thing, kind of wish that they would have gone for a much more shaded look like they had in the show, because All Might is known for that intense shading, and it would have been nice to have that in a figure, but that's about the only gripe I have with aesthetic. So now to go on to posing, and articulation, I should say. So the head can look up that high, all the way up, and that far down to his tippy toes. I'm getting the ab crunch in there too much. He can look directly down into his chest, and that's using both neck joints. Using the top one, he doesn't get a lot of down, but using that bottom one, he gets much more down. There is a dumbbell joint in the head itself. Let's see if I can't show that. Yeah, you can see the stick for it, just a little bit in there. There it is. This back part is actually a separate piece, and I love this so much because that means you can look up super high. But it's a dumbbell joint in here, and then a ball peg connected to a hinge and a back and forth swivel like this, so you can get all the range out of that you need. Get some nice little bit of tilt side to side. It's really nice looking all around, everywhere you might need, and it looks pretty natural because of that ball joint at the base of the neck. All Might is one of the figures in this line to have this shifting side of the body, and it's connected on a ball joint because you can kind of get it to move around like that. So it's on a ball joint. Get some nice forward, some nice back, but it's it's situational. It's a very situational joint. The arms can get in. Let's see how far I can get him to go in. Touch his fists at least across his arms. There you go. But it's a swivel hinge ball joint into the arm. But you can get him to go up pretty high like that, up super high like that. He can hit he can hit the pose. He can hit the pose. Don't worry about that. But you can see the ball joint in there. This piece here is super weird. It's supposed to be like muscles on the shoulders. It's very strange looking to me though, but it just kind of, I think it's a ball joint. Yeah, it's a ball joint, so it moves around. That allows that ball joint in here, allows for a bicep swivel though, just a little one. And this is another swivel hinge ball joint situation. So you get that out of the ball joint, or out of the hinge, and this out of the ball joint. It is all that you could ask for there. So on this figure, there's also this weird little joint here that's like a swivel at the glove. Not entirely certain what this is supposed to be for, but I think it's mostly meant to get this part of the cuff out of the way, though it majorly breaks the sculpt, so I basically never use it. Here at the fists, you have another swivel hinge swivel, so you can get a little bit of that action, and then that, as well as a little bit of that once you get it side to side. For the ab crunch, you get that much at the top and a little itsy bit more at the bottom. I think mine is a little tight at the bottom, so I'll have to work on that soon. But it is beautiful there. Forward. The back, though, is gonna be hindered just a bit. Yeah, you aren't gonna get any back, really. Which, if I'm gonna sacrifice forward or back, I'm gonna sacrifice back every single day. But you get some nice tilts side to side. Just at the top alone there is beautiful. Some good swivel down at the bottom. The biggest thing I'd say is getting the torso joint to not block the hips. Because if you have something like this, you're going to block the hips with that bottom of the torso. So keep that in mind. However, speaking of the hips, this is all like a floating piece. The belt kind of floats up. Just bring it back down if you need to. It's a T-joint in there like every other amazing Yamaguchi that I've owned. And you can get some high kicks out of him. You know, it's pretty much 90. If you fiddle around with the angled swivel, you might be able to get some of that action. And it looks insane. That angled swivel at the leg here is great, but it's also kind of situational. Still gets you, you know, weird looking splits. I honestly like this a lot. It is weird, but it's very nice, and it gets the leg all over the place. And it doesn't really hinder the fact that, oh yeah, you're gonna need to use that swivel to get the figure posed up, because you can still do it. You can still do it. It's not a huge issue to me. Besides that, there is a single joint at the knee here. You can see that far back. It gets you a lot of back. It looks a little weird like this, especially when they have the whole back section caved in and everything. But you're not, for me, it's like I'm not looking at the back like that. And it's, even if it's angled, it doesn't look that weird. So I don't have any real issues with it. I like it a lot. You get some boot ball joint action here. That helps, you know, make this look a little bit more natural as well. Gets a little bit more of that specific posing. The crux of the leg articulation or the foot articulation here is down here. Swivel, hinge, ball joint. So you get back and forth like that. Hinge down like that. This is excellent hinge down. Use some toe down even. Get all kinds of tilts, ankle pivot, everything like that, back and forth. It's weird to have that cut out like that, but it is absolutely for that, so I kind of understand. Like I said, toe pivot, it's got this nice rounded edge, so wherever you are, it's going to be flat. So that is it for the articulation. That's it for this figure, actually. This guy is great. He is probably, no, he is, as far as I remember, the biggest figure out of the current My Hero Academia Amazing Yamaguchi line. He is really, really nice. I'd say the biggest thing with this figure is the lack of accessories, though I can understand when Deku is 5 inches and this guy is 7, and they're the same price. So it's kind of the sacrifice you get. What you get though is still a good amount of accessories, especially for All Might. He doesn't need a lot of, you know, random little accessories. He just needs his hands and a big effect like this. I would have liked to at least get one more of these maybe, but that's about it. Personally, I think this is the best All Might figure you're going to find on the market. The McFarlane looks super dumpy, and I think that's the only company that's made an All Might figure so far is McFarlane. This blows that thing out of the absolute ocean. This is a fantastic little figure. So if you're looking for an All Might, I would look at Amazing Yamaguchi. You'd think that for such a big guy, you wouldn't get as much articulation as you do, but you get insane amounts of articulation out of this guy, and it is fantastic. So yeah, I'd highly recommend this if you're looking for an All Might. I think Big Bad Toy Store still has a couple out there, so check there. And yeah, if you enjoyed this, throw me a like. If you want to see more, throw me a subscribe, and I will hope to see you guys later.